So it took a while, but here we are at last. I'm finally able to begin reviewing D&D Adventurer magazine. Although I say begin reviewing, I think I'm pretty much beginning and done with D&D Adventurer magazine. I'm going to talk about why. But first of all, I'm pleased to say that on the 15th of September 2023, I finally received issues 1 and 2 of D&D Adventurer magazine, as well as the dice tray here. So I'll show that soon. I'll show off all the goodies because they are quite nice. I'm not gonna lie, they are quite nice, and I think actually like taking a proper look at them rather than just keeping them in the packaging has given me a much greater appreciation for them. So yeah, so I reviewed D&D Adventurer 1 magazine pre-release in November. I think it was the 26th of November 2022. Let me have a look. Yeah, so I did a proper read of it, and yeah, I did pay a fair bit for that, like, sort of first issue, and now I've got the second one as well. I mean, they haven't charged me for the second package that I received, and it was completely out of nowhere as well. I wasn't informed at all. In fact, I saw D&D Adventurer magazine in stores before I actually received these issues in the post. I didn't get an email saying, oh yeah, by the way, we've found a target audience for this in the UK, we are going to sell this magazine, beginning so-and-so, expect to find it in stock. No email saying, yep, don't worry about you don't need to buy the magazine. If you find it in store, we're going to send it to you. No. Package came out of the blue, wasn't charged, so I thought, this is a bit of a suspicious package, is it not? And as it turned out, it was D&D Adventurer magazine, which is something of a suspicious package, if I'm quite honest. The first issue is £4.99, the second one I think was £6.99, and then going forward it's going to be £8.99, which is approximately about $10 I'd say, and it's a fair bit of money for what you're actually sort of getting. Very little. I'm not going to read through the entire magazines. I've got 6 issues here in front of me. I'm really just going to sort of flick through them, show a bit of the art, some of the articles that they have, but generally I'm not that impressed. It still remains what it was before. Like, my criticisms remain the same, and they have been consistent throughout this entire thing, of essentially you're paying for reprinted rules for an edition of the game that is going to pretty much not phase out as such, but a new edition of the game is coming out in 2024. And when I was reviewing this, the pre-release stuff in 22, D&D Next was, sorry, not D&D Next, that was 5th edition. 1 D&D, D&D 2024, D&D 2, 5.25, 5.5, 5.75, whatever you want to call it, 6th edition. To be honest, I haven't really been following D&D that closely, but it's just because I've had these come through the post. It's whatever you want to call it. The next edition is coming out soon. So what good a lot of these rules are going to be, I don't know. And we've actually had quite a big breakdown of the rules by Matt Colville recently. He did like an hour-long video talking about what's coming in the next edition of D&D. So how they're going to tackle that problem of, like, okay, a lot of the stuff we're talking about here, a lot of the features for your classes are no longer relevant. Are we going to go straight into D&D Next? A lot of people won't. Are they going to slowly go into it? Is this just going to be remaining for 5th edition? I wonder how they're going to do it. But it was a problem that I highlighted before. It's like you're doing this at the tail end of the the edition, and now you're right at the tip of the tail, and you're still publishing this. Apparently, they have 18, I think, or 19 issues planned so far. If you look on their website, all £8.99 each. So yeah, before I continue any further, though, I want to talk about my experience with actually ordering this magazine. So, the first time I received it, they didn't charge me on my invoice. All good there. That's fine. But then I received another package, and I was like, and I took another hit to my bank account. I was like, okay, I wasn't expecting this. My fault for not cancelling the subscription. I didn't realise, of course, that they were... when they first sent me the first package of issues 1 and 2, and all the goodies within, I thought that was just them honouring the bargain, honouring the deal that we made in 22, where they're going to send me, issue 1 and 2 if it releases, etc. Pay for that. I've already paid for it. I'm already getting what I am owed. No. They actually just continue my subscription. Okay, that's my misunderstanding. I didn't clarify that. I accept the fault on there. The problem is when I tried to cancel my subscription going forward, and I'm not very happy with H.Y.D.R.A. They did eventually resolve it. It took them 7 days to give me a quick response, and even then it's because I did something on my end. But I essentially had, I tried to cancel the subscription, and it was, it wouldn't let me do it. The website wasn't working. Now, I turned off all my extensions. Not an extension problem, it's a website problem. I tried different browsers. It's not a browser problem, it's a website problem. I tried different devices to see if that was going to work. Maybe, okay, fine, I'm using it on my PC. Is it going to work on my laptop? Is it going to work on my mobile phone? No, because it's a website problem. The cancel subscription button didn't work. They let me pause my subscription, which is a good job because my debit card was about to expire. I thought, right, okay, I'll do it that way. They can't charge me if they ain't got a card to charge to. I also went on PayPal, made sure that I cancelled it there, and eventually, 7 days later, and in fairness, that's not a bad response. But I refuse to believe that H.Y.D.R.A works is so inundated with customer service emails that they can't get back to me, sooner than that. But hey ho, look, I'm not going to go to the customer service people. They were very nice and just saying, hey, look, we noticed that you cancelled on PayPal, so you don't need to worry about being paid, charged. Great, okay. I wanted to make sure that happened before they sent any stuff over. And I would return it, if they weren't able to charge me, but they sent it beforehand, I'd make sure that they got it back, because I'm not going to go, ha ha ha, it's mine now, you fools! No, I'm not going to do that. That's not fair. So I'm just stuck here with the 6 issues, and to be honest, I'm perfectly satisfied with reviewing this magazine based on those, because I don't think they're going to be able to do much more. I'm genuinely surprised that they can even think that they can pad out 20 issues. And my core problems with this is that, okay, yes, it's reprinted the basic rules, but if I were reading this magazine, I got to issue 6, I've paid, let's have a look, let's do the maths, because I'm terrible at maths, so we're going to get the calculator out. So, $4.99 plus $6.99 plus $8.99 plus $8.99 plus $8.99 plus $8.99 equals. So I've now spent £47.94 in total, right? Well, I mean, I haven't, but let's say that I were buying these issues individually. I paid £47.94. Okay. Why at that point would I continue subscribing? Why do I need D&D Adventurer magazine when I could get the Player's Handbook, which has the complete rules, not including DM stuff, and even then, the DM stuff in here isn't really good enough to, I guess, justify buying it for the DM stuff alone. So I spent £47.94 on the rules of the game, spread out across, weekly or fortnightly issues. I've had some dice, a dice tray, some little minis, and a cardboard map, and a one-shot, and some one-shots in every issue. And to be fair, the one-shots are great. I will always say this about D&D Adventurer magazine: the one-shots are the I was about to say the only good thing. I'd say they are the best thing about this. I've spent 47 quid. Do I continue buying this magazine, or do I buy a Player's Handbook, or a starter set, or essentials kit, or do I quit? Because I think that's what the conclusion you're going to get to. You've been buying this magazine for enough time. You must surely know if you're into D&D or not. This isn't like other part works, as I was saying with the Warhammer. I think it's Warhammer Stormbringer magazine. I'm not sure, where the idea is you have I think they did it for Kill Team, Warhammer 40k Kill Team, which I want to get into. Where the idea was each issue would have a mini, and you'd be able to build your kill team, and then you build up an opposite kill team to play with, and you get the dice and the rulers and the paints and the brushes and the sculpting tools and whatnot to build your minis. That's fine. In D&D, I now have 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of dice. That's a set of dice for each player character. Okay. All I need now is a 5th set of dice, and well, that's it. I can now play the game. So why do I need to keep buying the magazine? It's like a PHB is never going to cost any more than this £47.94. 94 pence. Basically, we'll call it 50. We'll round it up to 50 quid. Yeah, the DM's guide, the monster manual, all that sort of stuff. Okay, but even then I could just get a player's handbook. I know enough now. Like, what do we learn in issues 1 to 6? So we get the expert D&D play tips. They're not expert play tips, they're basic rules. Spell class casting explained. Take on the Red Wizards of Thay. We learn how to play the cleric. The 3 pillars of the game. Talk about skeletons and orcs and leveling up. Oh, and in issue 6 as well, you level up. And I think at that point, yeah, that's pretty good actually. You've spent about between 6 and 12 hours of gameplay. Yeah. I'd say you should be about level 2 by then. And you also get the character sheets to go with it as well. So you've got an idea of how leveling up works. I think actually that's pretty much a good getting off point, which is where I got off as well. So yeah, now I only paid about 24 quid in fairness, because I got like the bundle and it was cheaper online, I think. I'm not entirely sure exactly how much it was in total I've spent, but I don't think it was like, because I don't think I've been charged the original 3 issues. So yeah. So it's not been too expensive for me, but even then it's still covering the basic rules. So we're going to go through it. So what else do you get? So okay, you get the basic rules of the game, you learn a little bit of lore, you learn about some monsters or some residents of the Sword Coast, the typical setting of D&D. I wouldn't even say the Forgotten Realms. I'd narrow it even further down to like the Sword Coast. So Neverwinter, Waterdeep, Thay, and the other one. In the first issue, you get a nice set of dice. Let's take them out of the packaging. So you've seen there. Yeah, so H.Y.D.R.A works there. Back up in the box. I now have 2 dice tins. Well, now I now have 3 dice tins. So this is the. That's the lid there, D&D Adventurer. And then there you have the dice. They're not great. I'm just trying to prevent them from falling. But yeah, they're not great. Like, obviously they're not going to be sharp-edged. If actually, they're not too bad. Taken out of the case, they're actually... They're not too bad. They're nice. Actually, they're not super sharp-edged. Like, obviously they're not going to be like craps dice or anything like that you'd see at a casino. But yeah, they're just sharp enough. I like the font as well on them. Like the right. Oh, you can't really see that. I do apologise. The numbering on them. I appreciate this isn't the best view, but like the number on them isn't actually too bad. I like the font that they've chosen for these. So in it you get a D4, a D6, D8, D10, a D100. Not an actual D100, but you know the 10-sided D100 or percentile dice as it's otherwise known, and as well, of course, your D20. The 20 is just a number. The 1 is just a number. There's no markers on there. Yeah. So yeah, you get those. Now, I did actually have a viewer. I read that comment today, asking as well, like, what dice? Did I happen to get the issue 2 dice for the pre-release? And unfortunately, I didn't. I've only got these lemon yellow ones, and they do look quite nice. Yeah, like they're really nice, honestly. Like forbidden snacks, you know. Really nice. Oh, it just focused then. But the numbering on them is gorgeous. Let's see if I can get a nice clear. But yeah, I do like the numbering. I think that's the best thing about these dice. I mean, besides the fact that they're dice. No doubt my darling dearest is going to want these because she's after them for Magic the Gathering, using them for counters. So yeah. Nice, like smattering is a glitter in as well. Can I get it to focus? Hang on, if I do that. Is it gonna? But yeah. Nice, yeah, just nice colours, nice fonts. No, I didn't get the pre-release dice, I'm afraid. These are the ones that come with the other issue. Important, distributed by H.Y.D.R.A Works, made in China. Very nice. And yes, you get even more dice here. These are my favourite sort of colour dice. That's like Blood and Shadow, I think the Dice Shop Online calls them. Yeah, no glitter to these. Oh, is there? No, but nice shine to them. Absolutely gorgeous dice there. So yeah, they're nice, but like, I could get, if I wanted dice, I could just go online, or I could go to my local game shop and get them, and I could get individual dice. What else? We also get a big D20 as well that keeps filling with air. I might as well take it out of the bag. Yeah, I'm not worried about these being collector's items. Yeah, they're not. So I'm not bothered about opening the pack and whatnot and devaluing them. Oh, that bag feels so good. I'm not gonna lie, like I constantly am impressed by these, like the D&D Adventurer bag. I'm keeping this one. I'm keeping that. Yeah, because I think I'm gonna give some of this stuff to a friend who wants to get into D&D. Yeah. Oh, it's so lovely. That's a really nice soft I think it's velvet. Big D20. If I'll get another one for scale. Need a banana for scale. That's the yellow D20. That's the giant D20. Yeah, it's not too heavy. I mean, it's plastic. Like, I don't like the paint on it, to be honest. I think the pattern that they've used exposes how it sort of just looks a bit tacky in a way. Like, it looks really messy, but it's meant to be like a fine pattern of like triangles and whatnot, but it's not really working. You can see like some of the paint, like with the 18 there. Maybe you can anyway. Can it? Is it gonna focus? Is it gonna focus? No, it's not. My camera's not that good. So yeah, so can I get my D20? I can just get my big D20 in here. Can I get any other dice in? Let's find out. I can get other dice. I think I can get just about 3 dice sitting on top of the D20. So no. It's nice. It's a nice little pouch though. I like it. But yeah. And to be honest, I kind of like that D20 came before another set of dice, because then everyone gets to go with a big D20. You know, or the DM brings out the big D20, and yeah, it's like when they bring out the metal dice. You know, things are serious. And what else have we got? Oh, got another dice tin here. Yeah, you can't really see that colour there. I'm going to open the pack. Resealable packs as well. Let's see what we get here. So, oh, nice. It's got a protective film over it to prevent them falling out. The problem is I can't get it out. Oh dear! Like it's yeah. So like it's got like a protective. Like, yeah, you can just see there. It's got a protective film on. The thing is, I can't actually. Ah, there we go. So I popped it up. That's not too bad an idea. If I tell you what, if I had some like dice that I was really precious about, I'd probably end up using that plastic just to shield them. These are the orange-looking dice. I thought they were like cola-coloured dice, but it's because of the so like if you look there, it's like a pretty ugly colour in there. But it's because oops-a-daisies, they are somewhat transparent. Like look at that, and oh, when the light shines through them as well. In fact, this is a good example to show off the font. Yeah, it's a nice clear font that's also like quite artsy in a way. Yeah. Yeah, so I like these dice, to be honest, yeah. Yeah, again, I'm very tempted to eat them. Yeah, so I'll put those back in there, and I'll end with the protective film. So now I have 2 dice tins, and I must find the other one as well, because I think that's a Dungeons & Dragons Adventurer magazine. In fact, there is a bit of inconsistency, because you've got D&D Adventurer magazine there, and then you've got this, and I thought this dice tin was tacky at first, but then I once again felt it, took it out of the case, and you've got Dungeons & Dragons there, D&D there. So yeah, and it actually feels really nice. Let's roll some dice in. Let's see what it feels like, and let's pour the dice in. Put it next to the microphone. Oh, quite. Yeah, just bounce a little bit actually. Yeah. Yeah, so it does have, to be honest, it almost feels like it's helping them roll, like a little bit. And I don't know if that's just me, but I have had felt dice cases, and yeah, I've had felt dice cases, and they don't seem to roll quite as well. And I get that, you know, you want felt sometimes. Whoa, just trying to find the right. Got that many bloody plastic packets here. Christ. I think I was filling them with pills or something. yeah. It's like, yeah, they sort of roll like enough, like it sort of prevents. There's enough prevents them from like rolling forever, and maybe that's going to be a problem with this dice mat. Another thing as well is like I think this Dungeons and Dragons print is probably going to wear off as well. Like you look at that, like that's going to scratch if you roll enough, especially if you're using like metal dice and whatnot. I don't think metal dice are probably going to roll in here very well. I don't even know if metal dice roll particularly well in general. I don't really use them enough. Tried once. But yeah, but no, it's nice, and also I am pleasantly surprised by the stuff they're sending. It doesn't look that good quality at first, but it's all right. We also get minis as well with instructions on how to put them on the back. So all you do is you just basically pop them into the base once you've taken off the protective film. I'm not going to set one up now because I want to keep them as they are. Let's take them out though, because I'm wondering if because the colours look a bit dull. It looks like they're a bit hard to look at. I know my eyesight's not been... It's been going a bit bad lately. But yeah. No, the colours are still fairly flat and quite hard to tell at a distance which character's which. Like, if I put them in the light like that, you could probably see the differences. But, yeah, it's like, if I were looking at these, I'd easily mistake the rogue for the I think the fighter. I think the cleric and the rogue at the bottom here. Oh no, I think they're both fighters. Are they? I'm not sure. I don't know. I think they're both fighters. That's a cleric and that's a rogue. So yeah, they're the ones that I'd probably notice the most. These two at the top I probably got confused by. So yeah, but I mean, not bad. Like I would like to have had like you know, some minis, but I appreciate like for example Hero Forge. You know, like sort of Hero Forge sort of things, like fully 3D miniatures is what I'm trying to say. It's probably a bit expensive, and I can appreciate that. I should have waited for the third delivery, to be honest. It's just that I was getting a bit sick of D&D Adventurer magazine, but yeah, because I could have got the binder on my third delivery, and that would have been helpful to keep these things, but yeah, and I could have given it to someone as well, because I think I'm going to give these to someone who's wanted to get into D&D, as I say. My darling and I aren't that bothered about playing D&D together as such. We're more into our Magic the Gathering now, so yeah. There's going to be a DM screen as well, which actually looks kind of helpful. If you look at the info, well, you probably can't see it there very clearly, but that looks so helpful. I know there's a lot of common criticisms about DM screens in terms of practicality, like for example the information within them. It's usually a better idea to have a custom one with the information that you need. I like the Waterdeep one. I love the artwork on it, but some of the information there is very specific to Waterdeep, like the code legal, and like pickpocketing things and random events and whatnot. But this actually seems to go into things like area, like what was it called now? Let's refer to some of the basic rules that I've been criticising. Oh yeah, I think we have to actually go into issue 3 because what is it called? Condition effects, which there is not a complete list of as far as I can tell. Was it in this one? It talks about wizard features. Wizard features, or is it the next issue? Or is it the issue after that? Or before that? Hang on a second, we will get there in the end. What's it called? The spell shape things. Ah, here we are, areas of effect. So, you know, only 2 issues after we talk about wizards, we actually get here, areas of effect. What's it called again? Points of origin. So, getting back to my original point, and I suppose that actually does help me demonstrate why I'm a bit ticked off of this. But in this a Dungeon Master screen, we can see the points of origin, we can see the effects, or conditions, we can see, like, I think, weapon tables, you know, basic monsters, things like that. And the artwork does look pretty good. I like that they've got the original artwork as well. So you've got, like, there, you've got the artwork of these issues, but then over here, you've got the issues, the pre-release issue art. And I do like that art, I think it's good. I think all the art they've got is good. The original stuff is great, but it's just that there's just so little of it. That's my problem. Dice Jail, with your 7th delivery, you know, it's a wooden, tacky little thing. I say wooden tacky little thing. You know, how much would you pay for that on Amazon? You'd probably pay a lot more than $8.99. But even then, it's like I prefer like the plastic dice tower that they're kind of not promising. I hate when gamers use the word promise. Capital G Gamers, but yeah, it would have been nice to have had the dice tower instead of that dice jail. But never mind, hey. So yeah, there's just like a lot of stuff that you don't really need, and that's kind of why D&D Adventurer doesn't work as a part work. With Warhammer, you got the miniatures, you could build a kill team, all those. I know if you build an airship, I'd probably call it a part work if it was actually like an airship. But like a battleship or an airplane, tanks, things like that. You know, you can get all that stuff in a part work. Here, it's stuff that you don't really need. It's just clogging up your table. I wonder if you had everything that came with D&D Adventurer magazine at the end of it, how clogged up your table would be. Like, how essential is all this stuff? Like, do I really need, I don't know, like, how many issues do they plan on doing? 200? So that's like, what, 80 sets of dice? Yeah. Do I really need 80 sets of dice, or 150 sets of dice, 8 dice towers, 7 dice trays, you know, and 4 dice rollers? Probably not, no. So, that's kind of... Oh, and of course, the piece de resistance. We have a map of the Sword Coast. That's not the Sword Coast, the entirety of the Sword Coast. But we do actually get a little bit of the area surrounding Phandalin. Now, it's red on the back, which is a shame. It should have been like a map of Phandalin, so you could turn it over, because that's where you're going to be in most of these one-shots. You'll notice how big this thing is. Look at that. It's huge. And it's a nice, thin cardboard. And I think that's pretty darn cool. I like that. I think that's really nice. They've thrown that in. Because you are going to be spending, if you do the one-shots on this, you're going to be spending a lot of time in and around Phandalin. So yeah. So D&D Adventurer magazine, if you want to see my review of the first issue, you can watch my Let's Read of that. Not much has changed with the first one-shot. They did not say, you know, by the way, the sword of Brightblade, you know, use this sword to find the other cities. No, apparently that's not part of their agenda. It's like the future one-shots are not going to be expanding into a larger campaign. In issue 2, we have spellcasting, a new and exclusive adventure. In fact, I think every issue says that. New and exclusive adventure, new and exclusive adventure. Yeah, they're all new and exclusive adventures, and they are quite good. 1 to 2 hours each, approximately. You know, the speed of them is fairly consistent. In issue 2, we talk about advantage, disadvantage, inspiration. I don't like that inspiration gets as much of a page as it does. I'm not a big fan of Rule of Cool and whatnot personally, but I don't know. Like, the more I've DM'd, the more I'm like, you know, with my darling, the more I'm like, you know what? I'm actually kind of cool with it. It's like, I used to be really hard on the. I used to be such a hard ass about the rules, to myself as well. But now I'm like, you know, I kind of like Rule Cool. But yeah, inspiration. They talk about it as if it's a thing that's guaranteed, and a lot of DMs just might not be bothered about that. They do say, however, you can only have 1 inspiration at a time. Okay, fine, fair enough. The way they talk about spells doesn't make it much easier to digest. Like, you look at this, for example. This is all about spells. It's not that intuitive. Yeah, it's still just going over what's already been said in the player's handbook, just not quite as clinically. A lot of the stuff as well they have, like the way they write this magazine, it's like I get that they have to split it up to make it look cool and easy to digest, but things like this casting an armor, this red bauble here, casting an armor, they make this seem as if like it's like an optional thing, or like a little hint or tip. Because of the mental focus and precise gestures required for spellcasting, a character must be proficient with the armor they're wearing to cast a spell. They're otherwise too distracted and physically hampered by their armor for spellcasting. And again, that's just the rules. This isn't like, I mean, there are like top tips, DM top tips, but yeah. What's this? Issue 2. We're going to rogue features at first level, talking about sneak attack. Talking about the sneak attack damage, the rogue weapons. All pretty good again. Visualizing it quite helpful. I like that we get lore. We learn about the continent of Faerun, the Forgotten Realms. Just a very brief overview of other continents of the realms, lands of adventure, Faerun's distant lands. Yeah. Oh, and as well, just to top it off, to the east, many of the older nations of the realms, including the Kingdom of Thay, ruled by an ancient lich and council of red wizards. And if you want to know more about them, you gotta buy the next issue. So, and yeah, so you get the Forgotten Vaults, so a nice dungeon crawl. It's cool that you get different sort of adventures. Like the first issue, you had the inn, so kind of like a quasi-urban / dungeon crawl thing. Here you've got the traditional dungeon crawl in the Forgotten Vaults. Love the detail on the maps; they are absolutely gorgeous. And here you fight. What else? What do you fight? You get an animated armor. That's not good. 18 armor class. 33 hit points at level 1, by the way. Also, as well, like, you get a lot of money for doing this stuff. In fact, do you fight the... Okay, yeah. Yeah, so you don't have to fight it as such. It's more like if you dick around too much, then yeah, you disturb it. And what does it do? What attacks does it have? Multi-attack, great. +4 to hit, 5 damage. Its saves aren't very good though, so I hope we know about saving throws. In fact, do we know about saving throws? Let's read and just see what we know about spells. Arcane Magic, Divine Magic, Concentration, taking damage, but nothing about... Nothing about saving throws. So, if you're using Firebolt against this thing, good luck. But if you had something like, I don't know, Toll the Dead, where its wisdom is -4, it's got a 3 in wisdom, then yeah, you might actually stand a chance against this thing. But yeah, then again, you do have a cleric in the party, and they're, I think, they're the light domain as well. You got a juvenile mimic as well. I like that it's a juvenile, not a full-blown mimic. So armor class 11, 7 hit points, pretty good. And you are, of course, introducing them to one of the coolest enemies in D&D. And I like this as well as a handout. That instead of getting this really nice detail map, let's go back to that. Instead of getting that, the DM gets that. And hey, if you're an artist, you can draw that. I love drawing dungeons as well, with the right gear as well. Yeah, but otherwise, yeah. That's kind of cool, and that's H.Y.D.R.A and Edermath's map. Yeah. It tells you as well in miles, 35 miles, and this map is measured, each hex is 5 miles. That's handy. So it's consistent. I like that. So yeah, it's pretty darn good. I like that. So that's issue 2. What's going on in issue 3? We have Take on the Red Wizards, a guide to D&D conditions and maximise your spells. Now, I'm not overly sure if we've got all... Like, I'm fairly certain Petrified was a condition. And that doesn't appear to be here. Blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, incapacitated, invisible, poisoned, prone, restrained, unconscious. Oh, we'll cover the grappled, paralysed, petrified, and stunned conditions in a future section. Why? See, this is one of the problems I had as well before. I get the part where they have to stretch things out, but again, I think a lot of these rules are going to be really useful. Why are you not telling me about petrified, or grappled, or paralysed, or stunned? Why is this not complete? You know where this is complete, don't you? The player's handbook. By this point, we've probably spent Let's see now. Let me bring up my calculator again. So, yeah, we already spent £20, £21 nearly, to be told by another issue to figure this out. I will say, I do like when the magazine just gets straight into things. Unlike the first issue, where it does beat around the bush. Like there, you just go from the contents page to the conditions there. That's good, because the first issue talked about the history of D&D, what D&D is like, etc. This just gets straight into it. Doesn't waste any pages, in a manner of speaking. Got the introduction to skills here. Skill proficiencies. It does break down what skills are governed by which. Talks about them here again. Pretty good. Is it going to give me all the skills? It seems as though it is. And, yep, goes over there. The DM top tip here is changing a skill. Sometimes the skill proficiency ends up not being very useful or no longer fits a character's story. In those cases, a player can talk to a DM about replacing the skill proficiency with another the class has access to. I think that's fair. I mean, a lot of this stuff is kind of like, a lot of these DM top tips are like DM fiat. I think they should instead do something like, if you don't have the skill, or if you don't have the skill you want, maybe learn to train in it, you know? Like, in fact, there's a thought. You know, you get a lot of money in these adventures. Especially if you're doing the side objectives, you can break up a lot of cash. And you're in Phandalin, and if this place is going to be like the player hub for a while, why not spend that money and downtime to learn some skills? Instead of asking the DM to just give you a skill for the sake of giving you a skill, why not roleplay it? Okay, my characters learnt this thing, or they were harmed by this thing, and they want to get better at it, so they don't have it happen again. You know, I want to be better at perceiving things, so I'm going to spend some time with the hunter. I want to be better at climbing, so I'm going to spend more time with the acrobat, or the athletes here, you know. I want to understand my arcane knowledge, so I'm going to see the wizard here, or whoever, you know, things like that. And again, you've got the money to do it, yeah? Four characters are going to have a lot of cash at the end of some of these adventures. They talk about elves, they talk about halflings, so there's wood elves, sun elves, moon elves, and drow. They also, I think, go as well into, yes, mythical lineages. There are many other elven lineages in Faerun, however they're so rare as to be legendary, even mythical. Avariel, the winged elves, have glorious feathered wings allowing them to soar above the land. Ithari can turn into wolves, living in packs deep in the deep wilds of the world. Meanwhile, ocean-dwelling sea elves live along the Sword Coast in close-knit nomadic clans. I've never actually seen, out of two of those, out of those three, I only know one of them is playable. So it's cool, again, a bit of lore. But yeah. Get some more stuff about them. Oh, I love the wizard art there. That wizard art is... what a hard image. Look at that. Oh! She's cool. So yeah, so they talk about wizards, what they do, how they use the spell books, they talk about the schools of magic, abjuration, conjuration, divination, enchantment, evocation, illusions, necromancy, and transmutation. Pretty cool. Wizard features. Top tip, spell levels. A wizard's spells grow in power from first level spells cast by the newest adventurers to the 9th level spells rolled by the mightiest mages. Okay. See Sage Advice C, Spellcasting 1 for more details. Okay. So do we have to go back for that? No. I don't know where that is. Probably have to wait a bit longer for that. Arcane Recovery, cantrips. Okay, so they do a good job of like breaking down like what the class actually does in a easier to digest way. We also get the Red Wizards, which I think gives them a rather gloomy look on things. I mean, don't get me wrong, they are cruel. But I did like Ed Greenwood's book called Thay, Land of the Red Wizards, which kind of goes against this idea that it is a, quote, dark and forbidding land. And no, a lot of people in the Thay kind of thrive and do pretty well. It's not as gloomy as it's made out to be. It's still a bad place. It's still very, it's very harsh, but people can live fairly there. And not all the Red Wizards are super evil. They're just very ambitious. To compare it to Magic, I suppose it's like black used to be evil, but now it represents ambition. And I think that's what the Red Wizards are. A lot of them are evil because of their over-ambition, but I think as well a lot of them are just, they want to learn the magic, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to do that. I do like this. The Tower of Iron Will. Look at the art on that. It's not original, I can tell you that much, I've seen that before. If I think that's in the Shadowfell, I'm not sure. Or maybe one of the demi-planes of Dread. Yeah. So yeah. And quite appropriate as well, because this is issue 3, so this would have come around around October time. And this is nice and this is like a nice horror one, almost. Going on about the Red Wizards. And I like this as well, I said it before, I think, that you read about like the green parts of this book are the lore parts. So you'll learn about locations and monsters, and then that's reflected in here, so it gives the DM some guidance. It's a little bit of revision to do before the activity. It's a pretty good one. Like, this isn't just about combat. There's a bit of roleplay. The idea that you have to help spirits realize that they need to be put to rest because they are in agony and they're possessing one of your friends. Well, not one of your friends as such, but one of the NPCs. And if they're alive at the end of it, you get rewards. Look at that. That's a main. I thought it was massive, but then I read the text. It's small. It's a diminutive demon. Armor class 9, 9 hit points, 20 feet speed. There's a scout with 16 hit points, 13 leather armor. A Pearl of Power, achievement by a spellcaster, is a wondrous item, uncommon. While this pearl is on your person, you can use an action to speak its command word and regain 1 used spell slot. Once you use the pearl, it can't be used again until the next dawn. So you do get some pretty cool stuff there. Again, DM top tip here for H.Y.D.R.A spirits, not original artwork. When I say original artwork, I mean to the magazine. I mean, as in like H.Y.D.R.A have not made this artwork, or it's been in other D&D publications. DM top tip for the spirits: creatures with damage resistance take half damage from those sources. They take 0 damage from sources listed as damage immunities. Again, not a tip. That's just a rule. That's just how the game works. As you can probably, if you're getting annoyed with me saying that, I get annoyed with it being explained as if it's like new stuff. Nearly done. We're halfway through now. Issue 4 covers clerics, dwarves, and what else is in here? Can I open it? Casting times and spell range. Action, bonus action, reaction, longer casting time, spell range, self-touch, feat. Good. Point of origin. Dwarven clans and kingdoms. The Grey Dwarves. It's good that they actually give them a sympathetic twist, and that they, they were enslaved by mind flayers, in brackets, alien psionic tyrants. Okay. Yeah, going to clerics, cleric features. Showing you the Twilight Domain cleric there. In fact, they're showing you 2 things out there. They're showing like the Cleric of the Grave, I think, and the Twilight Domain. Yeah, the Twilight Domain one, which isn't in the Player's Handbook. It's in Tasha's Cauldron for everything. Sword Coast, get some lore here. So again, kind of going over the same stuff. Sword Coast Part 2. We also even learn of vampires as well. Look at that. Ain't that just wonderful? Can't strike on Zadovich. Oh no, my magazine's falling apart. Talking about the Underdark as well, which I think deserves its own bit. I think it's a bit unfair to just put these. Get the Zentarum. Look how much stuff we're learning here. Get the Sword Coast, vampires, and the Zent. Not bad. And then we get the encounter. Daylight robbery. Well, an adventure. Playtime was 2 hours. This one takes us to Waterdeep, or near enough. Yeah. So again, this is a bit more of a role play one. I think it's like detective work as well. 200 gold. And if you befriend from someone, you get an additional 100 gold. And some allies as well. Not bad. Issue 5 goes into the 3 pillars of the game: exploration, social interaction and combat, roll dice or role play. Many interactions are decided by the roll of a dice. Your DM may ask you to make a charisma check using one of the deception, intimidation, and persuasion skills, depending on the situation. But for the DMs out there, remember, you decide when to call for an ability check. If a player is role-playing their character well, a dice may not be needed. And I think the pillars should perhaps have come a bit sooner. Then again, you are kind of getting more into the other sides of the game besides combat. But yeah, I like that. I like that I mentioned that. Time in combat, your time is your own. Talk about downtime. Darkness and light. Nice. Bright light, dim light, and darkness. Oh, and I do actually like as look, you get a nice picture there on the left hand side. So you sort of get a visualization of what it is. Which sort of helps me in a way. Yeah. I like that because a lot of people talk about what it is, and yeah. So if you want to know what dim light looks like play Fallout 3 and New Vegas. I think maybe 4 as well, with just your Pip-Boy light on in the caverns. It doesn't, or indoors in general, with no lights on except the Pip-Boy. That's dim light. It's not very fun. Never went to wood, so again, kind of like, like we've seen this map. In fact, I think this is the one where you get the map, the issue. And I'll just go back a page. Again, gorgeous art, but it's kind of just like going over the same stuff over and over again, really. Like they really need to come up with something better for the lore sections. Skeletons, love the skeleton out there. Resurrecting a skeleton banishes the hateful undead spirit that animates it and restores its body and soul. Oh! Apparently that's a top tip. Have limited intelligence. I like this as well. Like this is good. This would be a good DM top tip. Top tip. While most skeletons are animated remains of dead humanoids, the undead can be created from the bones of other creatures, giving rise to a host of terrifying and unique forms. That's pretty cool. And now you get the Crypt of the Elf Lord. Again, sort of dungeon crawl here. Yeah, fairly straightforward. You fight skeletons, 13 armor class, 13 hit points. Short sword and bows, 5 damage respectively. Yeah, there's a blink dog as well, which is nice. Awesome enemy. Because they can teleport. What else? Oh, and like the reward at the end is... Oh. Characters can only escape the crypt if they leave before dawn, sunrise. The magic doorway disappears for another year, dooming the adventurers to a slow death underground. Oh, so they can actually die. After leaving the crypt, tell the players that their characters magically forget any warning the Lord Perrin's spirit told them. Ah, okay. A curse to forget all mention of Tintaros, including its name. Oh, that's spooky. So yeah, it's kind of cool stuff in here. Like this one, I like. I'm gonna have to read this one properly. I've only just really skimmed through a lot of these later issues. But Perrin's bow is a long bow. It's uncommon. Like the art on it. Love that. This elven longbow is decorated with living ivy leaves. You have a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with this magic weapon. If you load no ammunition, it produces its own. Now that's really, really good for like a level 1 item. Yeah, and it's a piece of magic ammunition. The ammunition created by the bow vanishes the instant it hits or misses a target. So, pretty good at removing the attrition side of the game, I guess. Yeah. It's one less resource for players to have to worry about. But you know what? If they're still new, it's fine. And you can always sell the bow later on. It's a +1 bow, so it'll see you for quite a while. Speaking of which, we now go into magic items, and look at that. I don't think much to the tiefling's face there, but look at that armor, look at that image. That's just cool. That's brilliant. And what appears to be a knoll's eyes, glowing with white. I like to think that rather they just haven't coloured it in. Oh, look at that. I think that's just like a spelljammer throne. That's pretty cool. I love it. It's brilliant. Yeah, some nice art. I haven't much to say really about this. Orcs? Yeah, because that's what I think when I think orc. To be fair, they are sort of like making more efforts to change like orcish stereotypes and whatnot. It's a bit like Adrian Edmondson in a way. Goes into orc civilizations. You get your rogue features level 2 now, your wizard features level 2, cleric features level 2, fighter features level 2. Nice. The Kingdom of Many Arrows. The orcs call the Sword Mountains their own, looming above their elven, human, and dwarven neighbours. That is cool. That is cool. I do love snowy areas. I do love snow levels. This is, yeah, it's nice. Actually get to hear how the dwarf holds. Okay, I can live that. Orc deity, Grumsh, One Eye. The Queen of Scars. Balance for level 2 characters. Okay. A lot of this is roleplay. I like as well the DM top tips here as well. Like, look at the extensive tips at the bottom of the page. All this stuff here, very useful information. Emphasises social interaction. You don't need to be an actor or a stand-up comedian to get good drama or humour out of your NPCs. But if you want to ham it up, here's some advice. So relax. Don't worry about impressing your players with your thespian skills or lack thereof. I think that was in the first issue as well. Get inside the NPCs' minds. Imagine how they might react to characters that strive to be realistic. Mug it up, scowl, smile, flutter your eyelashes. Snarl, pout, cross your eyes, rub your hands together. Whatever it takes to make your NPCs come to life. Try different voices. And keep the game moving. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. It's like there's no maps for this either. You get a lesser orc stone. You can summon the spirit of an orc warrior. And disappears after 10 minutes or when it's reduced to 0 hit points. Well, that's kind of cool. I like that. You know, you can summon an extra party member for 10 minutes. In fact, if one of the players was missing, I might actually say, you know what? You can have an orc. You can have an orc companion join you for the entirety of this game. Yeah. And the stat block is that they have an armor class of 13, 15 hit points. The Queen of Scars has 30, however. Speed of 30 feet, okay. They have a great axe and javelin. They do 9 damage with it, that's a lot. But they have aggressive. As a bonus action, the orc can move up to its speed towards a hostile they can see. Yeah. Pretty good. And you have Thug as well. To be honest, I really want to sort of read through these again properly because the one-shots, I've been thoroughly impressed with them this entire time. Yeah, and finally, oh, that was it. Yeah, that's it. We've read through all 6 issues. We also get as well, I forgot to mention, but we've got our character sheets with the updated artwork on the back as well. So it's not just using the stock artwork. I think there was like one original piece. And in issue 6, you get your level 2 character sheets. You'll notice as well, perhaps, that on this one, you've got 15 gold pieces at the bottom. And then a level 2, because you'll probably have a lot more than that. That box is blank for you to fill in yourself. I believe, do they have any new weapons or anything like that? No. Proficiency bonuses have gone up and such. But yeah. Yeah, it's alright. So, yeah. So D&D Adventurer magazine, it's a very good, like, the stuff in there is all correct. The information is correct. There's nothing about it's wrong as such. The only thing I really have a lot of problem, the only thing I have a real problem with is things like DM fiat. The idea that it's like me, if I was saying like you're not enjoying your skills, okay, I would change it. If you're not having fun, but otherwise I'd say, look, you've got this amount of money, you've got downtime. Think about what your character's going to be doing between this one shot and the next. Come back to me in 2 weeks' time, or however long, and I want you to tell me what you spent your money on. Yeah, but they could really do with things like having things to spend your money on, not just skills, as I mentioned, and even then I wouldn't know how to process skills without looking at Xanathar's Guide to Everything, or the Player's Handbook, or whatever. So they could do some things like that. Adventuring gear tables is something that they could have. Again, I mean, like it would be one thing to have like 1 XP per gold piece, like in older editions in D&D and OSR, Old School Revival, or an ASOS or whatever. But here it's like gold is just basically sitting there. And it's like, no, you could actually maybe buy some new things, like potions or, spell scrolls, things like that. I mean, I'm sure, here's the thing as well, like, this is a review of the magazine itself, not the players who are going to be playing it, because players will probably ask, right, okay, what do we spend money on? But the thing is, like, to answer that question, it's like, okay, if you want things to spend money on, buy the Player's Handbook. You know, do you really need this magazine anymore, you know? And I think if you've managed to do 6 one-shots, chances are you're probably going to want to do more than that, or that you'd be a bit more committed. Again, you're going to be spending more than I've spent on D&D books at the end of this run. So, and I've spent a lot on them, so I should know. But yeah, it just baffles me. But my complaints remain the same. It's like, we've got a new edition coming out soon. There's nothing in these magazines that's really new or unique. It's all one-shots. I'm glad the one-shots are here. I'm genuinely glad that they have a one-shot every single time. But otherwise, it's just reprinting the rules. There's not as much original artwork as I would like, that I can find in other books and things like that, or online. The goodies that they send are practical. Dice is always good, but like, I don't need 200 sets of dice. I don't need dice jail. I don't really need a dice tower. The rolling tray is nice, but they're not like metal or glass dice, so it's not as necessary. Yeah, I just think that like the what it does well, but it's like it's only doing it well because of the stuff that already exists. The one shots, they're original and they're great. I love them. And I would prefer to buy a book of, say, 30 one-shots by these guys, I don't know, for however much, let's say 40 quid. 40 or however much quid. I'd do that. I'd be fine with that, absolutely. Or 30 quid or whatever, yeah. I'd pay £1 a one-shot. Or more, maybe. But not £10, because that's what I'd only get this magazine for going forward. It's like I'd just ignore the rest of the rules. I'd teach the rules to players because I know them well enough, but I'd be running the one-shots. And I'd happily buy, if someone owned all these magazines and were just selling the one-shots, I'd pay a pretty penny for them, because they are good. Quick and easy to run, 1 or 2 hours long, and like minimal prep as well. Just draw the map and just write down a few minor details about the NPCs, have the stat blocks ready. They require very little work. I was actually preparing to run one, the prep time for it, and I'm someone who agonizes over all the details, and I'm like, you know what, everything here is fine. I've actually got enough information to run the adventure, and they're good adventures. But yeah, I can't justify getting these anymore. Like, even with the subscription, even if I'm making a saving of however much, like I think there was a Black Friday deal for them actually. If I go back on their website, was there something there? D&D Adventurer magazine. Was there anything? Anything at all? I don't know. If I go back to the homepage, what about that? Yeah, I think it was. Oh yes, D&D Adventurer magazine Black Friday offer, 50% off your first issues, first 8 issues. So I'd be paying about £23. Not bad, but still a bit more than yeah, it's, I don't know, like if I were paying 23 quid at that point, I'd rather just get a book. You know, again, the one shots are great, but 23 quid, call it 25 quid for 8 one shots. No, sorry, I want a bit more than that. Yeah, while I'm here, actually, on the website, I just want to have a look. Yeah, oh yeah, Age of Sigmar, Stormbringer gives you models to paint. You get a little model. Mortal Realms or Imperium. What's in the Imperium one? Oh yeah, okay. So you get you can actually buy the individual items, and you get like paintbrushes, modelling kits, a Citadel painting handle. I've been looking for one of those actually because I want one for my miniatures. So I might have to get one from here actually. Hatchet power, because you might actually get my money, and it's not going to be from the D&D stuff. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, you get little miniatures and all that sort of stuff. It's $8.99 again, and that's like I'd rather do that. I'd rather pay $8.99 for one miniature for Warhammer stuff than I would for D&D Adventurer magazine and just get dice. But this, and hey, you know, actually, if I can buy like the Citadel painting handle or the modelling kit from the website and have it delivered, that might be pretty good. What's in Stormbringer? A heat-changing mug. Okay. But yeah, like if I could buy the individual dice and things like that, that might be where the money is for these guys, rather than like just subscribe to this magazine, because it's a lot of money. I can't justify $8.99 for 8 issues. I'm really sorry. I haven't, as well, not to mention, I haven't seen D&D magazine in Adventure magazine in stores lately. I think after the 5th or 6th issue, I can't remember, it stopped appearing. So I think it might have just moved online, which is probably is. You know, they've got the exposure. Anyone who wants to subscribe to it, there's ways to do it. They provide you enough of these things to sort of order online. So yeah, it's an alright magazine. It's alright, but you know, I think by this time, if not sooner, I would probably just end up either buying the PHB, the Player's Handbook, and learning the rules there and passing that around the table, or I get to know it so I could teach other people. I may even get a DM's guide. Again, we're coming up to Christmas as well. They released this in September, and I think within the 3-4 months that you've got leading up to Christmas, you're probably going to decide if you want to get some D&D stuff in the Boxing Day sales or Black Friday, you know, or New Year's sales. Do you really need to keep buying the magazine? I don't think the answer is yes. I'm certain that there's not much more they can do, and it's really obvious that they're struggling to put content in there, having to reprint a lot of stuff and a lot of the tips and advice. Yeah. But yeah, so that's it for me. I appreciate I can't call this a complete review of D&D Adventurer magazine because I'm only looking at 6 issues, but you know, if they wanted me to review more issues, I would, you know, they're going to have to up their game, and they should have done it by issue 6, really, and they haven't. A lot of, especially like the lore entries, I like the lore entries, but I'd rather just actually get a third-party book or something like that, or read a wiki. You know, there's just too many resources out there, and this, I can't get over this point. This is the one that I haven't actually mentioned enough yet, but why am I paying $8.99 an issue that doesn't have the complete section of the thing it's talking about? Like, how many issues have been spent talking about spellcasting? It's about 3 or 4 issues they've talked about it, and I still haven't got the full information on it yet. And yet I could just go on YouTube and just watch a video for free, and I will probably enjoy that more than reading it here, and I can go back and watch that video as many times as I like, and there's enough YouTubers. I think this is the right magazine for the wrong time. You know, like D&D YouTube has been around for ages, even before, you know, Critical Role, Dimension 20, all the rest of it. You know, D&D YouTube's been around for ages, at least especially like a lot of the theory crafting and stuff, and like just talking about the rules of the game. With 5th edition being as popular as it is, this magazine came way too late. Way too late in the edition, way too late in YouTube's life, way too late in like in the wiki scene. I think it's the right magazine, but for the completely wrong time. This really should have come out around the launch of 5th edition. And if they wanted to do D&D next, so one D&D, or D and Done, whatever you want to call it, they should have waited to do it then. They should have done issue 1 at the beginning of D&D 1. Or 1 D&D, or D&D 24. Whatever it is. I still don't know, I haven't checked out the name. But yeah, they should have done it around that time. If they did it at the launch of something, it would have been much better. And if they had new and exclusive information as well. This is still something I want to see. In fact, I remember saying in my review of the original, I want to see them talk to the developers. I want exclusive interviews with artists, the designers themselves. I'd love for things like that to be in there. I'd love for them to talk with Ed Greenwood, or whoever, or people who used to work for Wizards of the Coast and things like that. I'm pretty sure that might not be totally realistic. But yeah, it'd be nice. Or talk about like the staff at D&D Beyond. What is it like running the site? What new features are coming? A bit of maybe even like news articles. Talk about, this book's coming out, or this tabletop thing is being upgraded and whatnot. But yeah, it'd be nice, but it's not happened. So yeah, so that's my conclusion to D&D Dungeons and Dragons Adventurer magazine. It has been pretty darn cool to read through, but I just can't justify holding on to it any longer. So yeah, so I'm going to be donating these, I think, to someone at work who's actually wants to better understand D&D, and who can really make better use of them. And the dice, well, I think my darling will get the dice. And I will be keeping my map of Neverwinter, just in case one day I do get to play the Essentials kit. But yeah, I might go on my wall actually. Nice bit of decoration, just something to liven it up a bit. Because I do like maps. I like my video game maps. I used to have like all my Skyrim and Oblivion maps here on this store. So yeah. But I'm going to end the video there. Thank you ever so much for watching. I appreciate it's been a very long and rambly video, and you haven't really seen much of the magazine. It's a long way of saying, in conclusion, it's the basic rules reprinted. With the money you're going to spend this far, you're going to get a PHB or you're going to quit. Essentials kits, starter kits are cheaper. There's video guides and wikis. The one-shots are great. That's the only real positive. Oh, and the goodies are okay, but you can get far better ones if you spend just a little bit more, or perhaps even a little bit less, depending on where you go. But I'm going to quit. So, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and ta for now.